कोई नहीं
To Parrot Paradise. How's everyone's afternoon going on safari so far? Pretty good, but I am going to need you guys to be a little bit louder, so scream as loud as you can for this next question. Are you all ready to meet some really cool birds? Much, much better. That is the enthusiasm that our birds do appreciate. I know that Fever here, our Scarlet Macaw, certainly does. We'd like to start off by thanking all of you for making our presentation a part of your visit here today. It's because of each and every one of you that we're able to continue the work that we do year-round, focusing our efforts in breeding, research, education, and of course, conservation. Now, one conservation project that is very near and dear to our hearts is our blue-throated macaw recovery program. Coming on in from the side here is Benny, one of the ambassadors for his species, so let's give him a nice warm welcome. Now, why does little Benny here deserve such a warm welcome? Well, unfortunately for him, he is a blue-throated macaw, which means that he is a critically endangered species, with there being less than 500 individuals left in the wilds of Bolivia, the only country in which they are able to be found today. But don't worry too much about little Benny here, because when we heard about this, African Lion Safari partnered with the World's Parrot Trust, hoping to ensure the future of this species, not only here at the park, but we are hoping to restore those wild numbers a little bit as well. Taking a step back into 2018, we hatched our first 2 blue-throated macaws right here on site, Benny here actually being one of those 2, and since then, we have added an additional 8 more chicks to our flock. So we're certainly headed in the right direction. 10 chicks can make a very big difference for the future of this species, and we couldn't do it without all of your support. So thank you for coming on down to the park today and becoming conservationists without even knowing it. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Alright, so now we're going to bring these beautiful birds up nice and close and talk a bit about some distinguishing features of the parrot family. The first thing you'll notice are those beautiful, brightly colored feathers, which stand out quite clearly here in this dull safari environment, but believe it or not, in their natural habitat of the rainforest, they actually blend in quite well. The reds and yellows with the fruits and the flowers, the greens with the leaves, and the blues with the bluest shadows all around them. Next up, we've got that large hooked beak of theirs, which serves as a very useful tool when cracking open their favorite nuts and seeds, and it is so strong it can even be used as a third foot, making them quite acrobatic by nature. And speaking of feet, parrots have what we call zygodactyl toes. Now, what does that big fancy word mean? Well, they're going to show you. It means they've got 2 toes pointing up and 2 toes pointing down. This gives them that better grip and balance when they're maneuvering throughout the trees that they call home. And while most of a parrot's time is spent amongst the treetops, it's a remarkable sight to see these birds in flight. They can reach speeds of up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. And when you're going that fast, you need a way to steer and you need a way to stop, and that is where those tails come in. Those long tail feathers help them change direction in whichever way they please, and at the end, they will fan out, hitting the brakes and providing them a nice, soft landing. But I do believe that both Benny and Fever here did an excellent job showing off their beautiful characteristics for us, so let's give them a big round of applause.
Now we share our planet with a variety of wonderful and unique species, bird species amongst others, and so it's very important that we work to keep our shared areas nice and clean. And one very easy way of doing this is through recycling. Lucky for us, today on Safari, we do have an expert recycler who's going to come on out and clean up the mess that Taryn just made. This here is Crojo, and he's an African pied crow. He picks up that can, he takes it over to the bucket. What do you say? Where does that buddy go? And it's a slam dunk. Now, the crow is the common crow species you would see hanging about around Africa, but very similar to his North American counterparts. This guy has a bad reputation for being gross or disgusting, simply because the species is often seen along our roadsides feeding on garbage and roadkill. Of course, that reputation could not be more wrong. Crows are just one example of a highly intelligent species that takes advantage of the easy meal that us humans will create for them. Not only that, as they're scavenging on what we've left behind, they're working to help eliminate harmful germs and diseases from the environment as well, keeping us humans nice and healthy, as well as the rest of the animals within the ecosystem. But Crow Just a Party message today is to always reduce, reuse, and recycle. We like to say, if a crow can do it, then so can all of us. So let's give a big thank you to Crow as he heads on home. Yeah, you're all right, it's a toucan. This here is the stunning papaya, and papaya here is a Swainson's or chestnut mandible toucan. Now she may look a little tiny to you from that view in the stands, but she is the second largest species of toucan in the entire world. I'm willing to bet that you'd also agree with me when I say her most striking feature is that long bill of hers. Now that bill does happen to be 4 times the size of her skull and almost equal to the entire length of her body. So it certainly does sound like it would be a very heavy object to carry around all day, but don't actually worry about papaya too much because it is deceivingly light. In fact, they say if you were to compare the weight of that bill to the weight of all the feathers on her body combined, you would find that her feathers actually still weigh more. But that bill is used for a variety of reasons, one of which is mate attraction and selection. Male and female toucans are the exact same coloration, the only difference being males will have a slightly larger, more curved bill compared to papayas there. Now toucans are what we call frugivores, and that word just means that the toucan's primary diet is fruit, so that bill will also come in handy when they're reaching along flimsy branches that maybe just won't support their entire body weight. It gives the toucan a little bit of an extra reach and allows them to be more opportunistic when they're out looking for something to eat. Now my favorite fact about the toucan is that that bill is used for thermal regulation. So think
Today. So I'm going to need you all to stomp your feet, clap your hands, drum roll please, for the national bird of India. Alright, does anybody know what kind of bird this is? That's right, a peacock. This is Parker, and he is our Indian peafowl. Yes, I did call him a peafowl, as that is the general term for the species, with the males being the peacocks, the females peahens, and the young pea chicks. So for those of you who call Parker here a peacock, you are not incorrect, as he is a male peafowl. You can tell that he is a peacock due to his bright blue coloration on his neck and head, and his elaborate train feathers, or a lack thereof. I'm sure you're all wondering, where are his train feathers? Well, they drop every mid to late August every year when it's the end of the breeding season. I think that Parker did a pretty good job showing us his beauty today from afar, so let's give him a big round of applause. Now, this tiny little bird has a very distinct call. It is said that the laughter of a kookaburra resembles that of children. Now, this call is a territorial one, so the way that would work is Fez would fly all the way to the edge of his territory, laugh out nice and loud, wait for his neighboring kookaburras to laugh back, all of this establishing where one territory ends and the next one does begin. Now, if Fez is looking at all familiar to you, but you've never been to Australia before, never seen a laughing kookaburra, it may be because you've seen the native belted kingfisher in the area. The reason these guys look so similar is because laughing kookaburras are actually the largest member of the kingfisher family. But I did introduce Fez here as a laughing kookaburra, so let's see if he's got a chuckle for us today. A bit of a little chuckle for all of you. He's gonna have one last worm, and then he's gonna make his long flight home. That was Fez, our laughing kookaburra.
I will point your attention towards the lovely FIFA here. FIFA is a 9-year-old green-winged macaw who actually hatched out right here at the safari. And even cooler than that is so did FIFA's mother way back in 1992. Now FIFA is here to do a flight demonstration for us all, but before she takes off into the sky, you may be wondering, why do birds even fly in the first place? To you and I, it looks like a whole bunch of fun, but for birds like FIFA, it's going to be a means of survival. So they could be foraging for food, trying to escape predation, maybe they're trying to stick with their flock because of safety in numbers, or even performing a long migration between their summer and their winter home. Now Cassandra is FIFA's personal trainer. She has been building her muscle for this exact moment today. But on today's hot safari day, I think she might need a little bit of help from us. So I propose we count down from 3 all together and then show takeoff. How does that sound? Alright, let's do it. I'm pumped. On my count. 3, 2, 1, takeoff! Now there go the brakes through that tail. And a light as a feather landing. Let's hear it for FIFA today. Now we've shown you many amazing characteristics of parrots so far during our presentation, but can anyone tell me what is it that parrots are best well known for? There it is. I heard it all the way across the board. It is talking. Now, contrary to popular belief, it's not actually the larger macaw species like FIFA back there that would make an expert talker. For that, you're going to look towards the smaller ones like the budgies, the cockatiels, the Amazons, and African greys. Now, with that, I will hand over the spotlight to the star of our presentation. This is our yellow-crowned Amazon, Eddie.
Well, usually she likes to start off by saying hello. Hello. A little cheerful hello. Now, Eddie is very excited to be here. Very excited. She's very polite and loves to introduce herself to everybody. You have to use your imagination though, because it does come with a bit of a hello. A few hi Eddies. Now with Eddie here, she loves to do sound effects, and her favorite sound effect is us drinking a nice cold glass of water on a hot safari day. A few chug luck she enjoys to do with us. Now she is a little bit of a curious bird because every time we're working around her enclosure, she always asks us this question. A lot of what she does whenever we're working around her. She does have a favorite game that I'm sure you guys will recognize because she loves to tell everybody. She loves a few tickles, and what do you guys do after you get tickled? Laugh. So does Eddie. Now with Eddie here, we do know she's a female Amazon because we sent her feather off to a DNA lab to get it tested, and it came back as a female. To and I, we can't actually tell the difference between male and female because their feathering is exactly the same. Now she did give us a few clues though, because every time a male Amazon came into the room, she would blow a little whistle. Yeah, and then of course she would blow a couple kisses. Like the little cheeky bird we have here at Safari. Now she does have a couple songs that she would love to sing for you guys, but first we're going to have to warm up her voice. Sound a little bit in tune to you guys? Maybe a little bit. Well, for her first song, she's very proud of where she hatched, which was right here at African Lion Safari in Canada. She's not native to here, but being proud of where she hatched, she knows a little bit of our national anthem.
Yes, very bad.
Canadas. Now for the next song though, I'm wondering, are there any birthdays out there in the crowd today? Yeah, a couple hands, okay. Well, what about any more birthdays in the month of October? A few more? Alright, well, Eddie and I don't like to leave anybody out, so it's your birthday in the next year or so.
Yeah, too good. Should have got everyone with that one. Well, if it's your birthday here today, then this one's for you. A few happy birthdays. She's done a great job here today. Now, here at African Lion Safari, we do believe that the first step in conservation is education. So we hope that you guys have learned a few things here today and you'll go home and share with your friends and family. We're going to bring up some birds. You guys can ask any questions or take any pictures. Just a reminder, around this corner in about 10 to 15 minutes is our next bird of prey flying demonstration. And Eddie has one last thing to say.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
A couple goodbyes, a little foot wave. Enjoy the rest of your day here at African Lion Safari. Goodbye.
चलो बहुत देख जा समझ लो